supposed to be successful. Because that bear didn't eat you.
I've spent the past Tuesday, we're hosting an event on design thinking with Ahmed, who's the founder of Numi, and he's going to be talking about how to design a product that people actually want to use. We've designed the curriculum in a way to where every single week we meet with our founders and we figure out exactly what their biggest problem is in the moment. What is the most important thing that they have to accomplish by the following week so that they can continue to build momentum to be ready for demo day. It's fun. Everyone goes out for dinner after, we get to hang out in cool offices, and for a lot of these guys, it's their first time being in SF and being kind of in the tech scene, and so being able to work out of offices like this, for example, is you could see it on everyone's face when they first walked in.
Such a better shot. If I could leave you with one takeaway, it would be that you can measure your pathway to getting to product market fit as just how quickly can you get to 250 net new unique customer conversations. That's the most impactful, highest leverage thing you can do because it brings clarity.
Selling $1 billion business, baby. That's what it is. All right, look at yours. July what? July 2nd, 2024.
July 3rd.
July 3rd, 2024. And we have $0 in the bank account right now.
Wait, put that up again?
Holy
Go back.
Wait, that's a black bear?
Yeah, redo that. Farza and Faizan are at the house right now, and I'm working with them on figuring out their actual product. And so early on we were thinking about whether or not they should actually go and build a physical product. Decided on no, and that they should go figure out who actually wants to use their product, and then we can figure out what the product looks like after that. And so Farza went and talked to a bunch of the people he's worked with in the past and locked in a few existing clients kind of off the jump. Now what we need to do is go build a product specifically designed around what they said that they wanted to pay for. And then we can figure out how to change the product, and I can help them figure out how to iterate through that later on.
If you love me how I love you, we wouldn't have no problems. Do you remember what I told you? I said please don't call them. Your friends, they out there. You just fucking driving. You doing good in that bullshit pop up. You lying. You got me.
I think the main thing, whether you're B2B, enterprise, consumer, you need to have an audience. Where is your audience? What actually causes you to follow other people? I would think deeply about that. I would just do what immediately comes to your head as being the fun thing for you to do. Because I promise you, every single one of you is already a great storyteller. You just maybe haven't found your exact craft.
Today we had Farza come in, founder of Buildspace, talk about user acquisition. And the most interesting thing about Farza is the way he actually went about raising. He's never actually pitched an investor, and he's raised $10 million, I think, from A16Z. And it was cool because now he was able to basically talk to all of our founders around how he went about raising the money without ever writing or without ever pitching a single investor, while also sharing some of the things he's seen from Buildspace nights and weekends on how a lot of people kind of went about their own user acquisition. It's a lot of features that are kind of needed to make. And so what we did was we cut channels by 80%, so there were only 4 main channels. What's interesting is we're seeing people make real progress week over week. I'm also realizing from today's group that all of these guys are basically making their own relationships outside of the batch. They're setting up their own dinners and their own co-working days. From day 0, there was basically no ego involved. I think I mentioned how the first ever check-in group, they were basically just going at each other constructively. And now we're starting to see 3 weeks in that there is real benefits. We're actually starting to see the results, and I didn't think that we would start to see results until much later in the batch.
Dealerships have a problem. This is what that one problem is.
That has access to all 10,000 federal defenders in the nation.
If there are any people specifically that you are looking at raising from as a target investor, send them to Shahir, because that way we can start to build those relationships ourselves, so that come closer to demo day, we can actually get you guys all on a call with them. Shahir invited a bunch of the founders in Alif to come by LinkedIn because everyone was in the area, and we were able to start going through everyone's pitch decks. And also we had Mujtaba Bawani, who's a VC at GSV, kind of last minute jump on a Zoom call and give everyone feedback. I think what's interesting is we started off doing these events where we brought together the entire batch, and in our head we were 16 people. It's still a very small amount of, a relatively small number of founders to be able to create programs for. But we realized very quickly that because everyone is in such different places, it's more valuable to actually create these more curated 5-6 people events where everyone's kind of at a similar stage so that they can share notes and get feedback together in public from people like other VCs or founders or investors.
So all these are prompts that Hassan, one of my UGC content creators, gave me that he already did.
Fun fact, in SF, everything closes at like 5 p.m. And so anytime we want to work from somewhere and there's more than a few of us, we've just been going to random hotels in the night. Right now, we're at the Hyatt in SFO. See all the airplanes? So we got these two content creators here.
More than just that. All right, we're entrepreneurs, we're motivators, we're writers, authors, but more importantly, we're just a bunch of regular guys.
It's like that, but with side projects. When you do enough of, like, you start bringing on side projects for the sake of bringing things on, versus actually executing on them and getting the results. When we first had to kick off the batch, I had 7 days of the week with no time to breathe, because there was always something new to figure out, whether it was myself or whether it was people on the team. But now that we've done this, I think 3 times now, Saturday is kind of freed up again. And so today's actually the first Saturday since we kicked off the batch where we have some time to do things that aren't directly related to Alif. And so right now, I'm about to go give a talk at a consumer AI Web3 hackathon thing. And then later today, all of us are heading to Los Gatos because we all got invited to a barbecue.
Many of you guys are here know him as the VP of Marketing at Founders Inc. But let's kind of dive a little deeper.
And the goal is being able to get as many iteration cycles in as possible before you get burnt out. Startups is essentially a game about playing the game for as long as you can without getting burnt out financially, you're running out of money, or getting burnt out mentally, which means going through so many iterations that you feel like you're never going to actually build something worth using. And I was like, I had my $1 billion idea. In fact, I'm not even going to go to college. A lot of people make the mistake of building for philosophy instead of building for practicality. And I think that the things that actually will move the needle are the things that are built from the perspective of how do you actually solve a problem people have? How do you build something that people actually want versus just jamming some like ideological, like the world would look better if this app was the main app that everyone uses.
I was like, bro, you guys did an amazing job.
We did the talk. Eamon was moderating for me, which was interesting because it was his first time ever moderating a fireside chat, and it was by far, like, he's the best moderator I've ever had on a fireside chat. Went down to lunch, and then now we're on Stanford's campus because we have a couple hours until this barbecue that we're going to. And so we're trying to get some work done here for the next few hours before we head there. It was interesting going to this talk because there were a lot of people who are from Saudi, who were either founders or who were VCs or very tapped into the VC network. And so we got to talk to a lot of them after the talk because they came up to me. And it's interesting to me to see the minute differences between doing business or raising money in America versus doing business or raising money in Saudi. And I actually think there's like an interesting opportunity for us here, not necessarily with Saudi, but there's an interesting opportunity here with us for Alif to take the best parts of what it's like to do business there and try to build those into the way we do business here. Big event, big event.
We wanted to put the Alif guys on blast. How you doing, bro? Good to see you.
Here's on the team before Waseem.
I wanted to host the Alif.vc team. They're doing wonderful things. They're getting Muslim founders together.
2 months ago, we launched an accelerator specifically for Muslim founders. The idea was to bring together, the upcoming generation of Muslim founders who are building in emerging tech, building AI companies, Web3 companies, robotics companies, and give them the mentorship and the resources and the connections that are already existing in the VC space, trying to bring together the most powerful / most interesting Muslims that have already made it in tech to kind of help bring up the next generation of Muslim founders.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in building a nice to have and not a must have, right? Building something that's transformative for a user, building something that's changing their life, right? Even then. And I think early on with Next Health, we found that we were building a product that actually changed customers' lives, right?
And give a 60-second pitch of their startup, assuming that your audience is investors. Omar and myself and Eamon and Zahir will all be giving you feedback on your pitches and what you should kind of change up based off of it.
For this part, everyone put your phones down and stare at the person talking very intently.
You're explaining why it is the problem. You're explaining exactly how much time.
Today was our fourth session. It was about product market fit. We had Walid Asif come in. He is the CTO of Next Health, which is a Series C company. And then we had everyone do their pitches because yesterday at the barbecue, we realized that actually most of these guys don't know how to pitch yet. And so we decided that every single week moving forward, we're going to actually build into the program a 30-minute slot for everyone to start pitching. Fun fact, airport hotel pizza. Actually really good. For the first time, over the last few weeks, things started to fall through the cracks. And so for us, it was like a moment where we had to reset and we had to think about okay, what's actually falling through the cracks? And then more importantly, how do we stop that from happening again? Now going into this next week, I'm interested to see if we were right about kind of how we went about trying to solve things so that I can go on to focus on what happens on demo day. And then more importantly, we can start to think about what happens after demo day because there's all this momentum that kind of exists right now and we want to figure out how to take the most advantage of it.